Hi, I'm Lorian, and this is the Knitting End YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new, welcome. If you're back, welcome back. And please remember to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any suggestions or thoughts to share. Really, this channel is about connecting through knitting and any other fiber arts that I dabble in. So I'm actually coming to you from my hotel room. My husband and I are on a vacation in London this week. London and the surrounding areas. So it's mostly personal, a little bit of business. He's actually at work today. His company has an office in London and he has staff on his team who work here. So he is in meeting them, which means it's a day for me to explore some of the yarn shops in the city. It happens to be our first day of rain. We've been here for 3 days already and had great weather for London in February. But I thought that I would actually start today by sharing my knits that I decided to bring with me, packing what knits to pack for a trip. And first and foremost, I have to say, my number one packing rule of all time is you have to bring a raincoat. To me, it's never fun to be wet, no matter where you're going, what climate, temperature, unless the forecast is absolutely for not rain, you should always bring a raincoat. However, we'll start with what I'm wearing, which is one of my Sophie scarves. So I actually had some leftover, well, I had knit this into a different shaped scarf when I got this yarn. It is a hand spun, hand dyed. It's actually beaded. I don't know if you can see, that's a bead right there. And I bought it at my local yarn store who used to do trunk shows from Tanglewood Fiber Arts. They're not in business anymore. So I have some beautiful yarns. It was a lot of high-end fibers. This is cashmere, and I had knitted into something I was never wearing. And I actually can make a second Sophie scarf with it. I love bringing scarves on vacations. I think they are a fantastic way to add some amount of knitting to your wardrobe, and they pack easily. I have a second Sophie scarf. This one is stranded with 2 different yarns, and one of the yarns has these little paillettes, so it glitters. I haven't yet worn this, but I might wear it out. We have a show tonight, so we'll see. Other accessories, yesterday and probably today, because it's raining, I'm going to wear my bucket hat. I brought one of my 3 recent knits. This is the bucket hat take 2, a pattern by Pam Sapienza. I just finished knitting it. I've showed in the past month, I've showed it on one of an earlier episodes. And then I also decided to bring a pair of mitts, fingerless mittens actually, here. So these are the Underwing mitts. It's a pattern by Erica Heusser, and I have loose ends. And I have loose ends inside. I actually fold the top. This was a modification that some other folks did, but I can also unfold them if my fingers are cold and get most of my fingers covered. So this is a color work pattern I learned. This was one of my early duplicate stitch. You duplicate stitch this bottom wing, the colors there. It has this really cool moon motif on the wrists. So these are some of my favorites. It's not been that cold. It's been in the 50s, so haven't had to wear them. Okay, a couple of other things then that I brought. So like I said, it's been temperate, and because of that, I wouldn't say this is a capsule collection, but I would say it's a bunch of sweaters and one shawl that I chose that I could very easily rewear and change the look of. So the one shawl that I brought is my Kyler. It's in one of my favorite colors, red. This is a shawl pattern by Isabell Kraemer, and I knit it in a Swedish yarn. That name escapes me right now. But it's a large shawl, but it's in a sport weight yarn. And I will add it to the show notes since I'm now doing show notes. So I actually took this on the plane with me. I used it as a blanket. I have worn this at night instead of having a jacket. It folds up pretty nicely, and I think it's a beautiful statement piece. And for what I've brought to wear, it goes with everything. So only one shawl. One shawl, one cardigan. I debated about bringing this because it is a bit bulky, but I just love it so much. I'm showing you folded in half. So I ended up bringing my All of the Lights cardigan. It's a pattern by Joji Locatelli. I've already worn it out twice. No, once. I will definitely wear it out again for dinner. It's in this beautiful rust color called Pheasant, which is yarn by Utopia Fibers. It's their BFL BFF. And it was one of my newer, I knit this last fall during the Joji Fall Cal knit along. And I didn't finish them, but I finished slightly after them. This is also a recent finish, so if you have been following me on my Instagram, you've seen this. This is the Treelights sweater. This is, I did it all in, pretty much all in Weekend Wool by Green Mountain Spinnery, and it just has some fold marks here. But this is a sweater that is, it has this really nice cuff and hem detail, which is in garter instead of ribbing. And what I could tell you about this is I don't need a jacket when I wear this unless it's raining, just to keep the rain off. It's warm enough, and I wore this yesterday. We went out into the countryside to visit my 82-year-old aunt, who is absolutely fabulous. And I wore this, and it was perfect. I wasn't hot anywhere. I wasn't cold anywhere. And so that is the one heavier weight yoke sweater that I brought. I also brought this, which is the Lillet sweater. So this is my kind of dressier sweater for this trip. It's all in this natural wool, which I believe is by Twisted Fate Spinnery, a very reasonably priced wool. I ended up knitting the sleeves a little long, so I cuffed them. The Lillet is a pattern by Thea Colman. I knit this a few years ago for my birthday for myself, and I've worn this out already. It's lovely and warm, but also very classic. I feel like I could wear this today if I wanted to, even with the collared shirt and the Sophie scarf. Maybe I will. We'll see. I am meeting my daughter's best friend who is studying in London. We had dinner a couple of nights ago, and I'm meeting her this afternoon for tea. The last sweater that I brought is a colorful one. So this is my Sunset Highway, a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. And I knit this ages ago in a variety of indie dyed yarns that I think I mostly purchased back at Vogue Knitting Live several years ago. Now this is a fingering weight sweater. The nice thing about this is it's warm, but so thin that if I need to put something on over it, like my jacket, my raincoat, I can very easily. Super comfortable. So that's it. 3 pullovers, 1 cardigan, 1 shawl, 1 hat, and fingerless mitts, and 2 Sophie scarves. And then I did, but I have not yet worn, I did bring 2 pairs because it's damp. Because it is raining today and tomorrow. I bought 2 pairs of hand knit socks with me, and like I said, I will wear those. Of course, in addition to the knits I'm wearing, I brought the knits I'm knitting, and that's also tricky because I wanted to have enough room in my suitcase or my carry-on, really my carry-on, because the flight over here I did not knit. I had a very uncomfortable flight over. The person next to me was in my space and could not help it, but airplane seats are small, and it wasn't comfortable, I'm sure, for she or I, for either of us. So this is really just an update because I have showed this last time or before. So I have now made it to the sleeves. I brought my current works in progress. This I'm showing you in half because I knit the sleeves 2 at a time. This is the Earth and Sky pullover. It is a design by Sweaterfreak. And while I'm here, I finished the body. I finished this hem, which has a corrugated rib hem. And I'm working on the sleeves. Like I mentioned, I do mine, when possible, 2 at a time, magic loop, so there are 2 sleeves there. And for the most part, it's just straight knitting. This would be very easy at this point to bring on the plane on the way home. And then the other knit that I brought, the other sweater that I brought, which are bulky. I don't really bring 2 sweaters usually on a trip, but we're here for a week. We are doing a decent amount of sightseeing, but we've also been on the train heading out of town a few days, going into the countryside, and it's a long flight back. It's about an 8-hour flight back to the States. So I wanted to make sure that I had my yarn to work on. I did bring a book. I don't like the book, so that's not getting much attention. But the other sweater that I have that has gotten a very small amount of work on it since we've been here, but this is probably what I'll work on the plane back, because I'll probably finish those sleeves in my downtime. But this is the Sheep Camp sweater, patterned by Jennifer Berg. It's not at all new, but it is a lot of fun. I loved seeing all the sweaters that people have made, all the projects in this, and I'm really happy with how this color changing yarn changed right here. I just think that's the section that gives me like a lot of happiness right now. So I have this, well, I actually finished my first or second, I don't remember, skein. I think my first skein of the pink, and I helical knit to blend in the second one, because all the yarn for this is from Feederbrook Farms, and they're hand dyed, and so they're tonal, and they have a little bit of variance. I did not buy them all at the same time, and so to work them in together, I decided to helical knit as I ended one and began another for several rounds. So that is great knitting for the plane for me, because it's just straight in the round stockinette. And then the last project that I brought with me, I have not yet started. This is my Advent kit from Qing Fibre and Florence Spurling Studios. This is the bag that came with it. It had 9 colors of yarn, 9 minis, and then some other goodies. The bag was one of them. There were stitch markers. That was another thing you opened one day. I can't remember what else. I think there's a little label. A couple of things I left at home. Here are the stitch markers. They're these cute little flowers. So I did bring that because I thought that would be really a fun, they're British, and I felt like I should be in keeping. So I am going to ball up the first 3 colors later today and get started. I actually needed the needle that I was using on my Earth and Sky pullover for the needle tips that I was using for Earth and Sky for this shawl. So now I'm on larger tips because I'm knitting my magic loop on a size up, and those are the original. I need a size 4 for the shawl. I think that's everything. I'm just looking around me. Oh, I also recommend bringing a project bag. So I did actually have a small project bag with me that I'm not going to show you because it's helping support my recording device. But I also did bring this, which is a backpack by Mabel Designs. And I really love their products. I have one other bag of theirs that I won in a contest. And I think it's nice to have one. I have one. So I basically have 2 bags with me. One went in my carry-on and one went in my suitcase. I'm not sure how I'm going to do getting home. I do have a very small pair of snip scissors, and I would love to bring them in my carry-on, but I'm not sure. They would be great for the shawl where I'm going to be switching colors and need to cut the yarn. But I think I could also it's fingering, I think I can just break it. All right, I hope you found this useful. We're having a great time. I hope you're having a great time, and looking forward to seeing you when I get back. Take care.